My name is Jono Proudfoot, and this is Real Meal TV. Prof, thanks very much for joining us once again.
Thanks, Jono.
Today we're going to play a little word slam. So I'm going to say one word, and you need to say the first word that comes to your mind and explain why.
So you know I can never say one word.
You have license to elaborate a little bit if you like. Okay, so let's start. The first word is Lance Armstrong.
Yo, that really throws me because, of course, doping and a certain personality disorder, which I don't think we can discuss with everyone.
Yeah.
But also redemption, because it's interesting that the most recent book I've read about him, he really has tried to redeem himself. So although he really, I think if there was one person I hated in the whole world, it was Lance Armstrong. And when he came to Cape Town, they asked would I speak with him. I said, there's no way I will be within 1,000 miles of that man. Because if I were to speak with him, I would say something that would destroy my career. But let's talk about redemption. If people like that can ever redeem themselves, he has tried, and I admire him for doing that.
Coca-Cola.
Stephen Blair. Now, Stephen Blair is a great friend of mine, a really good scientist who's unfortunately quite closely linked to Coca-Cola. And this is how the industry works. They find these very good scientists, and then they use them to present a message. And the message Coca-Cola wants to present is that you can eat anything in moderation, including sugar. And as long as it's in moderation, you're fine. But it's not. And Stephen, unfortunately, now is driving the theory that if you reduce your calories and increase your energy expenditure, you can lose weight. And you can't. And he proves it himself because he's never been able to control his weight, ever, even though he's run marathons. And he doesn't get the dietary connection that it's diet that drives obesity, not the amount of energy you expend.
Next word is running.
Ecstasy, but hard work. And so, yeah, running completely changed my life. If I hadn't been a runner, I would never have had the career that I had. So if I have a religion, it's running.
2011 Rugby World Cup.
Oh, that's a lot of memories. I think it starts with Blythe Lawrence and David Pocock and Jonathan Kaplan would be the three names that come forward, and my granddaughter's birth date.
Really?
So let's go through all of those. So Bryce Lawrence made 46 errors on that day, and we documented those 46 errors. And there was more. He normally makes about 8 in a game, which is far too many, but to make 46 completely messed that game up. David Pocock was the man who benefited, but really what's so funny is that David's been in touch with me, and he's written me a long letter because guess what diet he's following?
He's banting.
He's banting. And so David Pocock and I are now this close. we are best mates. And I said to him, David, I now forgive you for beating us in the 2011 World Cup. The third is Jonathan Kaplan, because he was kind of involved, and he should have been refereeing those games and he wasn't. And the question is, why did that not happen? And Jonathan and I have become very close, working with the Ike Tigers and winning the Varsity Cup 2014 and writing a book called Always Believe in Magic, which we've written together with the coach Kevin Musikanth. And the fourth was my granddaughter's birth date, when she was actually born. Because what happened was, on that very day, the Cape Times ran a story in which I had said that the International Rugby Board had to prove that that final had not been fixed. I didn't say it was fixed. I said, if you look at it and objectively analyze it, you would say it's fixed. So they have to tell us why it wasn't fixed. And then, of course, out came the headlines. Prof Noakes says World Cup is fixed.
Yeah. On
the very day my granddaughter was born. It gets even worse because her grandfather on the other side's best friend is Bryce Lawrence.
Oh, really?
So you can imagine the two families didn't speak on the day that my granddaughter was born.
No. Have you sorted that out since then?
Well, we've had a rocky past with the grandfather on that side, because many years ago he said he would never talk to Tim Noakes again in his life. So,
Jeez.
because he has some interest in rugby and I had a conflicting interest, and so. But no, we resigned to our differences.
Okay, well, that's good. Okay, next word. Carbohydrates.
Evil, illness, sickness, type 2 diabetes. And I just wish I had known many years ago about what they would do to my body.
Money.
Also evil, but can be used to benefit, and I think that's the key. Money, the root of all evil, unfortunately it probably is. And I think our society has become more money-orientated than ever before, and it's sad to see it, because there are more things to life than you need a certain amount of money, but beyond that it doesn't really help. And one has to do good, and the key is what you leave behind. And when you die, you can't take the money with you. What you leave is your legacy, and that's what you have to work on.
Cricket South Africa.
Very positive, actually. I went through a very bad time with Cricket South Africa because I was sidelined with Bob Wilmer, and that was tragic for both of us and for South African cricket, I think. But I must say that they're really well managed, and the players are the happiest players of all, in the sense that they really feel they're looked after well by the association. So I really compliment South African cricket for doing it. And they've got some fabulous players. I think it's the most talented team we've ever had in history. And the fact that they may be not winning the final games is because there's a lot of other competition out there. And I think the game is probably... it's being played better today than ever in the history. It's just more competitive. And so if they're not winning, it's just because the other teams are just so very good.
Twitter.
The best source of information that you can have. It's astonishing. My education has changed in the last 2 years since I've been on Twitter, and that's where I get all my medical information now. And so it's dramatic, but it will change the world, and it'll change medicine.
Yeah.
Because now there's the wisdom of the crowds. And if we say that you must eat a high-fat diet and it doesn't work, it will be exposed. It may take a year or two, but it will be exposed. And in 5 years' time, what is the truth will be out there, and that will be what is followed. And it couldn't happen without Twitter and social media. The rubbish would just be sustained. The industries are so powerful and have such an influence on expert opinion, so-called expert opinion, that you can't break it down. Yeah. And that's what Twitter does. It says, actually, there are other opinions, and here's the evidence.
Business.
Well, obviously, there are some very important good businesses and some that aren't so good. And the ones that I look askance at are the pharmaceutical industry, because I think they've completely distorted medicine today. And my dad, who was a very, very astute businessman, just said that the nature of business had changed, that it used to be an honorable profession or in its entirety, but increasingly he saw that there had been change, and he worried for the future. And I think we've reached the stage where the bottom line has become far too important. And certainly, I've just reviewed some books on the pharmaceutical industry, and it's just, some people claim it's organized crime, and that's a tragedy, because they are directing the health services, and they do it by controlling governments, from governments to the experts to the doctors are being so strongly influenced by, and the scientists, of course, they're being so strongly influenced by the industry that the truth is just not coming out.
Next word, the news.
There is no news. Just seems to me it's the same old rubbish repeated and very boring.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I have little interest in the news. I think probably as you get older, you want more to find out the bedrock of information and truth. And what changes from day to day is not that important.
So you think the news lacks substance?
By and large, yes.
Great. And finally, retirement.
Fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. I've been here for now about a month, and I've never been happier. To get up in the morning and to know you've got your own time to do what you want to do, is fantastic, because I'm not someone who will ever get bored. I've always got things to do. And now I can focus on what I'm really interested in. And I can run more. Again, I'm like I was in, I ran my best when I was a fifth year medical student, because as a medical student, you always got too much time. And that was when I could train every day. And now I'm back to that feeling. I can train when I want to, as far as I want to. And I'm just really enjoying it.
Well, Prof, thanks very much for letting us get up close and personal. It's always great to have you on Couch Time, and we love hearing what you think.
Thanks so much. Lovely to be with you. Thanks, Johnny.